maybe we should just get the elephant in the room out of the way before DJ joins us here. I'm just sitting around going about my business. Last week was right around this time, as a matter of fact. Seeing the Juwan Howard throwing hands or mush or whatever everywhere. I mean, like, it was nonstop, on a loop. And the combine bubble pops, the league or the scouting organization that runs the combine backs off and says, yes, everybody can have their trainers and you can have whatever food you want, and we'll deal with COVID another day, I guess. And so DJ sends out a tweet, thankful that all the prospects are going to be there. There'd be no boycott. Thank goodness. I was getting a little nervous. It would just be Rich Eisen and me talking current events. So, Rich, I haven't watched much college basketball this year. How's your Michigan squad doing?
I love that.
All right. Let's pop them up right now. You there, Daniel Jeremiah? How dare you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm being set up here. I feel like this is I'm walking into a trap right now.
There's not at all. I mean, this is a handshake line. I'm extending my hand. If you want to just throw hands, then we'll have to figure that out.
Why do I feel like this is like a Stone Cold Steve Austin? You shake my hand and then you hit me with a stunner.
Not at all.
That's kind of what
I have no stunner. I have that. That's just not my arsenal. I come in peace. I always do that. I don't know why take a shot at me like that, Daniel. Why would you do that?
Well, your football team had such a great year, and as we head towards the spring, as you know, my favorite part of the spring is not necessarily the combine or the draft. It's just giving you and Charles Davis so much crap for the failures of Tennessee or Michigan.
Yes.
And now
yes.
Michigan's good, and I'm like, I don't know where. I'm like a rudderless ship right now. I don't even know where to go.
So you search for that I guess the port in the Sea of Troll, and that port you dock your boat in is the Michigan basketball team, is basically what you're saying.
Well, I mean, I was being honest. I have not watched much college basketball.
Neither do I, because I had no idea Appalachian State was, in fact, better than Michigan in terms of record and opportunity to make the tournament. So I didn't know that.
Lie, I had to look that one up.
You did? I wish I had looked it up before I responded, but I just got so pissed. I don't know. You usually don't inspire anger in me like that, Daniel. But
no, you know what? And the funny thing was, my first reaction was, I can't believe Juwan Howard took a swing at him. And my second reaction was, how long has Juwan Howard been the head coach at Michigan?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Back here on the Rich Eisen Show with Daniel Jeremiah, we just hashed out him taking a figurative swing at me on Twitter over my coach taking swings on the basketball court, getting ready to go.
Did you see my other tweet to you last night, Rich? By the way, with the news about my
apparently some guy at Supercuts whatever has nothing.
Yeah, he cuts hair and gets tips.
Yep, and his tip was that you're the first choice for Fox with Troy Aikman leaving for the booth.
Oh,
right!
Congratulations.
Well, he said the other people he named were over Sean Payton, Nate Burleson, and Condoleezza Rice. I didn't know that those are the three other options for Fox. I had no idea. So congrats.
Yeah, I mean, I think is what I was told according to the guy from Supercuts. It came down to me and Condi, and it was a close call, but I think I edged her out.
You know what? Thank goodness that would be in football and not foreign policy. Let's put it that way. She definitely has the edge on that.
I'd probably lose in both, having heard her talk football.
All right, Daniel, I'm so excited to be ready to spend an insane amount of time with you in that booth at the 50-yard line at Lucas Oil Stadium. What is the main headline going into the combine in your estimation, DJ?
Well, I think this league, Rich, as we saw in the Super Bowl, is about quarterbacks and those who can get to the quarterbacks. And I think, maybe some of the headlines have been, well, this isn't the sexiest quarterback group, after what we saw last year and what it looks like could be on the horizon next year. But if this is a draft where you're looking to find guys who get to that quarterback, you are going to love it. I mean, it is loaded with edge rushers. You've got two from your school.
Yep.
Among about 6, 7, or 8 I could see going the first round and getting ready for the combine and talking to guys who've been training these dudes. They're going to put on a show for us, Rich, so I can't wait.
And yet your mock draft going into the combine, it's 2.0 for those who might have missed the 1.0 that came out in I guess, January. Evan Neal, the protector of all Alabama Crimson Tide quarterbacks, is going to be the choice of the Jaguars. They're going to go to try and protect Trevor. That's what their choice is, you think? when it's all said and done?
Yeah, and again, that's how I do the mock drafts, kind of what I think they would do, not necessarily what I would do or how I have guys ranked. In my updated top 50, Evan Neal's my 5th player. I like him. I like the pass rushers better. I just think, if we fast forward a year from now, Rich, and the Jags are coming off of a 5-12 season, and the defense has played great because you've added Aiden Hutchinson and you've paired him up with Josh Allen, but the quarterback doesn't take any steps forward. I think they would kind of view that as the organization not necessarily where it needs to be. Whereas I think if they're the same 5-12 team and they're maybe giving up some points, but you see the trajectory start to take off here for Trevor Lawrence, I think you'd feel much better about things. So I just feel like this whole offseason, it started with Doug Peterson. Every decision the Jags make is going to be to try and help out their young quarterback.
And so you've got the Giants who have 2 picks in the top 10, right? They've got 5 and they've got 7. And in your mock draft, you have them taking no offensive lineman. A pass rusher, Trayvon Walker of Georgia, and then Drake London, a wide receiver. You think that's what they're going to do when it's so clear that line is so dreadful? Is that what you've got on your list?
Well, here's the challenge is, first of all, I think they're going to try and trade out.
Okay.
I think that's what they're going to try and do if they can find a partner, because they have a lot of holes to fill. They need to clear a bunch of salary cap space, so I don't know how much they're going to be able to do in free agency. But, yes, the offensive line is a glaring need. But with Evan Neal and Ekwonu off the board, I think you're probably extending and reaching a little bit. Now, I don't think Carolina, from everything I've been told, the picks right behind them is they are dead set on the offensive line. And, I mean, to me, it was like put to me from somebody who's tied in there with those guys, that just no matter what, just give them an offensive lineman, even if you think it's a reach. So that's what I did with them. But with the Giants, I think you look at the other areas of this football team they need to address. Maybe they can do it with some low price free agents. I just look at Joe Shane and where he came from in Buffalo. No first round picks on that offensive line. But what they did is they got serviceable players, and then they used their resources, including trading a 1 for Stephon Diggs, to put weapons around Josh Allen. So that's kind of the theory of where I went with that, of trying to give Daniel Jones some more weapons. I really like Kadarius Toney, but I'm not going to make Joe Shane and Brian Daboll pay for the sins of the previous group that paid Kenny Galladay all that money. So I'm not going to sit and wait for him to be a great player, because I just don't think that day is going to come.
Your next 10, fascinating in the fact that these are where the 2 quarterbacks in the draft you have going in the first round reside, because you have only 2 guys going in your first 32 at the quarterback position, none in the top 10. You've got Kenny Pickett going to the Saints, 18th overall, and then the Liberty quarterback Malik Willis to the Steelers, 20th overall. Walk me through your choices here, and also to leave Matt Corral out of the first round entirely.
Yeah, Matt Corral, unfortunately, I'm not going to see him throw or do much at the Senior Bowl. He's coming off that injury in the bowl game he played in. He's got a really live arm, Rich. He plays really, really aggressive, and he does that with his legs. He's not a big guy. I don't think he's going to physically hold up playing that aggressive with his legs, so he's going to have to dial that back. It's kind of a tough offense to evaluate out of as well. Kind of some schemed winners in there with Lane Kiffin and RPOs. He's a tough evaluation. So that's why I had him kind of sliding out. And then you get to Kenny Pickett with the Saints. It feels like to me this is kind of not a rebuild, but definitely kind of a new chapter here with Dennis Allen taking over. They don't have their quarterback answer there. And I think when you look at playing indoors, playing and where they're going to play in that division, I think it suits Kenny Pickett with his skill set. Doesn't have an overpowering arm, but really good accuracy and decision making. So I like the fit with him there. And then Malik Willis, again, the mock drafts I do off of what I hear and where I think could happen. And the buzz down there in Mobile at the Senior Bowl was that the Steelers seem to be smitten with Malik Willis. So they want to, a lot of times it's like when you fire a coach, you hire the opposite. I think we can see a little bit of that, too, when you change quarterbacks. I mean, it doesn't get any more opposite than going from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. So you stay inside the division. You go from Big Ben to Malik Willis. You get a lot more athletic. And Kevin Colbert does what Ozzie Newsome did on the way out the door is leave the next guy a quarterback to go forward with.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that to Ed Bouchette last week, and he kind of poo-pooed that in a way. You know, the longtime chronicler of the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and you know, but I also did hear Tomlin say that that mobility at the quarterback spot is something that he would love to have, right? So that's those two things make sense right there. A little breadcrumb right there. But and then there's the issue of the quarterback market shaking out in the new league year, as well as maybe after all that with Deshaun Watson and what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, and Russell Wilson is the latest quarterback to remove or not have any mention in his Twitter bio or social media bio of the team that currently has him. So how do you see all of that playing out? Obviously, that would wreck a mock draft. That's why it's a mock draft, everybody. So just go back to your homes. It's not the real thing. Right? So how do you see the quarterback market going into the combine, whispers and ear to the ground, Daniel?
Yeah, I would say a couple things, Rich. You bring up some great points. So that would be a great opportunity for me to say, pay more attention to a top 50 list or whoever you follow and whoever you trust with their information. A mock draft prior to free agency is just a fun exercise, but I don't know how useful it is. But if you can kind of get a feel for, you know, how you stack the players and how you like the players and how you rank the players, I think that's more valuable. And I would say, you know, how it impacts what we have going forward over the next few weeks as we head towards free agency. I don't get the idea that anybody's super enamored or in love with this quarterback class. And what that tells me is that we're going to see some teams try and get bold and try and be pretty aggressive in the veteran market. So that should be a lot of fun.
Well, who's going to be available in the veteran market, do you think? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is?
I think it's going to be trying to give teams an offer they can't refuse. So maybe some guys that you don't think are, you know, potentially available, maybe they get blown away and they do become available. I would imagine there's going to be several teams that try and take a swing, you know, with Aaron Rodgers, with Russell Wilson particularly. And then we're all, I mean, I feel like we've been saying the same thing forever. We're all just playing the waiting game on Watson.
And then anybody that we're not talking about? What do you think? You think?
I don't know. You know, there was some talk about, you know, Cousins and what could happen there. I think once they hired Kevin O'Connell, I kind of put that to bed because I don't think you're allowed to be a membership of the Shanahan coaching tree unless you pledge your allegiance to Kirk Cousins. So I just don't see that happening.
You pledge allegiance to Kirk Cousins? Is that where you stand up there, hand over your heart?
Yes.
That's how it works?
That's really funny. Hold on. I'm going to write that out today. I'm going to write that out right
One
now.
quarterback under center with completions and interceptions for all.
This three-step drop ID pledge.
Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. How do you think the statement from Kyler Murray's agent, Eric Burkhart, landed on the desk of Steve Keim as he's making his way to speak in front of the Combine gathered media Tuesday? What do you think about that statement, Daniel?
I mean, I don't want to put words in Steve's mouth. I've known Steve for a very long time. I would imagine he probably just had a little bit of maybe a chuckle and an eye roll and went about his day. I don't think that. I don't know what the point of it was. You know, like, are you trying to apply public pressure? You know, like you're trying to get the fan base to rally behind a guy who scrubbed all of the fan base's team's information from their social media accounts. Like, I don't get it. I don't see this applying any leverage. You know, I kept reading. I was like, okay, where does it say he's going to hold out? Like, I was kind of missing that piece of information. So I didn't really get the motive behind that. If whatever it was, I don't think it was accomplished.
So let's dive into it. Like, what? Because I said at the top of the show, Daniel, that if you have spoke to any Cardinal fan, they're not worried if Kyler Murray's the right guy at all.
No.
They're worried about, why does this team fall apart after Thanksgiving? That's what they're worried about. And if that is the problem of the mix of the team or the organizational roster building or the coach, like, that is the question. Or, is it something that will not be able to be fixed with Murray? Like, deep down, that might be the concern about Murray long term, not about like signing him now because he's not the right guy. Like, there's no Wentz Goff problem here, right? So I guess that's my first way to dive deep in is like, what is the problem? What has been the problem in your estimation in Arizona?
Well, I think they've had some issues with some injuries. I think he's just physically worn down at the end of the year too. And the first year before it was more injury related. This year is a little more performance related. But yeah, I mean that was the other thing that was kind of missing from that. From that statement or what have you, is like, hey, we've accomplished some great things, but I know that I need to get better, and I'm working on that so that I can finish stronger than I have the last couple of years. But maybe like a little bit of accountability, if he took there, would have made that land a little bit better. But no, I mean, I think they got to continue to add depth. I mean, we've seen that, especially we're in 17-game season now, Rich, and when we have had with the COVID stuff, I think hopefully that's behind us for the most part, but. The deepest rosters are the ones that advance and move on. So they've got to continue to add talent and depth around Kyler. But he's not someone who doesn't deserve a little bit of criticism as well for his play coming down the stretch. So then, I think he probably thought he was going to get kind of the rubber stamp Josh Allen, kind of name your number, let's just get it done and pay you. And I don't think he's getting that.
So then why not? Let's flip this on its head then, in the fact that, everything that Eric Burkhart did say in it about how the franchise has turned around and how well he has played is fact, and that what I said is clearly he is the quarterback of the future for the Cardinals. Then why not give him what he wants right now? What's the point of that? Daniel.
Well, I think he is going to be their quarterback. I don't think there's any other option, but I think they're maybe not putting him in the Josh Allen category yet. If you're looking for the Mahomes or the Josh Allen contracts, I think their argument, and again, I'm just looking at this from the outside, but I'm imagining their argument is, no, you're not those guys. You are a great player. You are a Pro Bowl caliber player, but those guys, you're talking about two of the top, three quarterbacks, however you want to look at that in the league, maybe 1 and 2. We're not going to pay you that number because we don't view you as that type of a player. But I would imagine he's saying, yeah, but I'm next. That's how these contracts work. It doesn't necessarily mean you're better than the previous guy, but you're the next guy, and everything kind of keeps trending upwards. So that's where you have a little bit of the issue, would be my guess.
So, wouldn't you be concerned that, that if he doesn't get paid, that year 4, that there might be body language moments or shutting it down moments during games where adversity hits that you'd be concerned about because he hasn't been paid based on the actions over the last 3 weeks? I mean, isn't deep down, would you be concerned about that sitting in the Cardinals front office right now, Dan?
I would say if you're worried about that, then you probably should have bigger issues to be worried about with him, going forward. If his wiring is such that
then why
it worked out, then I would be concerned, because if you'd say, okay, most guys would say, okay, look, pay me now. This is what the number is. I know it's an uncomfortable number, but guess what? When I go out next year and I take the next step and we take the next step, that number's only going north. So I would prefer to have somebody in that position that would maybe take that approach. And I would imagine, I think that's what Lamar Jackson will do. And kind of that in that same boat, he's going to say, that's fine. You want to hold off and wait? That number's only going to go up.
Well, I mean, in terms of Lamar, Eric DeCosta spoke a couple weeks ago, and I took his comments to mean that Lamar isn't negotiating. Like, he's just chilling out and figuring out he'll get to it when he gets to it. Are they talking? Are you hearing anything on that?
I don't know. I have not.
Daniel?
I haven't talked to Eric. I have not asked Eric that. So maybe I'll check in with him when we get out to Indianapolis. But that's it's different ways you approach this thing, right? I mean, I just keep looking back at Kirk Cousins and all the deals they tried to give him. He just said nope, and bet on himself and paid off in a big way. So I think I'd rather go that approach than the all caps letter.
Before I let you go, Daniel, who give me some names of some guys that you're thinking can burn it up, knock the roof off of Lucas Oil coming up this week at the Combine.
Well, I mentioned those edge rushers. Travon Walker from Georgia. He's going to probably run in the high 4.5s or low 4.6s at 275 pounds. Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, another edge rusher, could run in the 4.5s, 260 plus pounds. We've already talked about how Hutchinson is going to roll. I assume Thibodeau is going to roll as well. That group's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then wide receivers, I always like giving you a name that's maybe a little bit off the radar.
Yes.
But Danny Gray from SMU, I think that second number is going to be a 2.
Who? Okay. That would be something
fast.
else. That is fast. All right, Daniel. I look forward to spending a lot more time with you.
Well,
I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to debate whether or not I'm going to be going sandwiches or salads this year, Rich. So that's what I've got to determine.
You know what? Salad is a great notion going in, but you got to be kidding me. Certainly, when you got to eat it during a commercial break, what are you going to grab a fork and please?
Nah, you're right.
Come on, Daniel.
Just don't be like Peyton Manning and get caught eating on camera.
Yeah. Getting caught eating on camera is a problem.
Also, how's your stationery?
Oh, yeah, you want to know? Because go ahead and ask him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I threw up a poll question when we all saw Eric Burkhardt's statement this morning. So Kyler Murray, very impressive stationery.
Yeah, we were taking.
But who do you think has the best stationery between you, Kyler, and Mike Florio?
Ooh, I can tell you this. I got married March 11th, 2000. And I still have some of my thank you note stationery left. So I'm not a very good letter writer.
Yeah, they've created more fonts since then, so maybe you want to get back to that.
Do you have a logo, DJ?
No, the DJ logo.
I think it just has my name embossed at the top.
Yeah, he's not working on it. No, and the last thing you want to get is an envelope from Mike Florio. You don't want that.
No.
That means you're being sued.
Yeah. You're in chapter 14 of Playmakers.
Take care, brother. I'll see you in Indianapolis. Take care. Safe flight. See you soon. That's Daniel Jeremiah. He's check him and Bucky Brooks. He's about to go do Move the Sticks right now, right here on the Rich Eisen Show, the podcast. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.